And now, time to say goodbye, Jay Powell. That's the subject of the riff. So I guess Fed Chairman Jay Powell is not going off quietly into the night. Today, in his last meeting as chairman, he announced his ungentlemanly decision to stay on as a board member for who knows how long. Take a listen.
I've said that I will not leave the board until this investigation is well and truly over, with transparency and finality, and I stand by that. In terms of when I would leave, I will leave when I think it's appropriate to do so. The things that have happened in the last 3 months have, I think, left me no choice but to stay. After my term as chair ends on May 15, I will continue to serve as a governor for a period of time to be determined. I plan to keep a low profile as a governor.
Well, low profile is okay, but Jay Powell's not the martyr he thinks he is. You can't have two CEOs. Kevin Warsh, confirmed today by the Senate Banking Committee with a 13-11 vote, and undoubtedly will be confirmed by the whole Senate probably sometime next week. Nobody's going to listen to Powell. The cost overrun investigation is being run by the Fed's Inspector General, who is independent, and Powell has nothing to do with it. And by the way, only once before in the 113-year history of the central bank has another former chairman stayed on as a board member. This speaks poorly of Mr. Powell. He has bad manners. Meanwhile, his record as Fed chair was undistinguished. The consumer price index averaged 3.5% per year under Powell. That's the highest rate since Paul Volcker, giving Powell the worst record in over 40 years. Cumulatively, the CPI rose a whopping 32%. As far as the economy goes, real GDP averaged a mediocre low 2.4% at an annual rate, another unimpressive performance. Now, the good news, Kevin Warsh is going to take over the helm as chairman and make a bunch of very important changes. Hopefully, the Fed's economic models that are based on the false premise that strong growth leads to higher inflation will be thrown out the window. Warsh understands the positives of low tax rates and deregulation in producing a disinflationary impact from faster productivity and lower business unit labor costs. Warsh wants to shrink the Fed's balance sheet and refocus the central bank on monetary policy, leave fiscal policy and debt management policies to Scott Bessent at the Treasury. The Fed should not be some massive central planning agency, and the cacophony of yapping by various Fed officials will come to an end, hopefully, along with something called forward guidance. Kevin Warsh wants the Fed to truly earn its independence by staying out of politics and sticking to better control of the money supply and maintaining a strong and stable dollar. The chairman's job at the central bank is a very powerful job, so whether he sees fit to give Mr. Powell a parking spot remains to be seen. And that's the riff.